when I got to Boston, it was kind of the right time. It was 1978, and I was 19. The first thing was just playing a gig was like, wow, this is great. I guess the next thing was like, wow, we heard our song on the radio. The Ramones and REM we toured with a lot. I think the funnest things were always maybe a stupid little show that you're playing with 50 people. The true success of playing is that feeling that and connecting with the people in the band. The best, worst place was Jacksonville, Florida, where we played a show, and our roadie was coming out, and I don't know, he might have had a beer or something like that, I don't know. But a cop, came to him and said, "What are you doing?" or something like that. He's like, "Nothing, officer," in his Boston accent. And the cop heard that and kind of like, "Okay, you're coming with me." He's like, "What?" So they took him off away. Dave and I, the responsible ones, went down to the police station and inquired about our sound man. They said, "I don't know, he's probably in county jail, in lockup." So we finally tracked him down, but we couldn't get a hold of him. And it was on a Friday night, so the weekend he's in jail for for nothing, for being from the north. Anyway, a long story short, we had to show up to court on Monday for him to plea, and he said, "Well, Your Honor, due to the circumstance, I plead guilty for, I think it was verbally resisting an officer." And the judge said, boom, 3 days in county jail, and that was it. And they took him away again, and we had to wait, and then there was no room in county jail, and they took him to the penitentiary in the middle of the state, like in scary Florida, and they shaved his head. And then they let him go. But we made it to the next gig in Tallahassee, so that was the kind of nightmare South story. Because of music, I love guitars. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to try to make a guitar. I've never, and this guitar right here, this is my favorite story. I'll tell this story. I made this guitar, I don't know, 25 years ago. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, listen, someone wants to do an article about your guitar making as well as the band." She told me where to bring the guitar to have it shot by the photographer, and I said, well, I have to get it back by the next day because I'm actually playing a show. And so actually she came and saw me, and we met, and then we got married. And then, so I always tell my son, if it weren't for this guitar, you wouldn't be here. Shot to place that face, I just kept asking myself, it's true that I once knew you too. At the Underground, when that closed, finally they pulled the plug on it, and there was 300 kids jammed into this little club, and it spontaneously we were playing the last set of that night. Someone kind of jumped up. I remember seeing them out on the stage, and there was like a hung acoustic ceiling that wasn't terribly high. It was maybe 8 feet high. Jumped up and put their hand through and pulled down a tile, and then all of a sudden everyone started jumping up, and all the tiles started falling down, and all the lights start crashing down. Then we're playing this, I forget what song, but pretty appropriate for the mood. And it was this crazy chaos, but for some reason I wasn't scared. I should have been, I'm sure, but it just seemed like this kind of almost celebration of like, okay, this is over, something else is going to happen. The past came back to find me. The past we left behind me. It's funny, and we always talk about it. It's like, well, we really should, and half jokingly, half not. It's like, start thinking of a way we could at some point make a, kind of a let's like make an old folks home for all of us at some point, where all of us could kind of hang out and be old together, have several cool houses out in the woods and a main house where we could all play at night, and just I think it's a good idea. Well, if that could pan out.